The first comic book that I ever bought, was an issue of Hot Stuff. It was Hot Stuff Little Devil, like a little, basically what the title said, a little devil kid that ran around having adventures and whatnot. I believe it's issue number 121, and one thing I remember about the cover, I don't remember the story so much that was inside, but I do remember the cover distinctly. It was Hot Stuff running, trying to fly this really fiery kite. And there's a kid in the background just kind of looking on in amazement. That was the one thing that really stood out in my mind there. But yeah, that was basically the first comic book that I ever had, or at least one I ever bought with my own money. Not something either my mom or my dad might have bought for me. I think I was about 6 or 7 years old at the time. Um, the comics that I usually read around that time, when I was growing up, was primarily Richie Rich, Little Rich Kid. Uh, Initially, I wasn't really all that interested in Richie Rich. I mean, I had seen it on the rack at the little convenience store or candy drugstore or whatever, and I wasn't really all that interested. It was like, well, it said on the bylines, poor little rich boy. It's like, who cares about a rich kid? I mean, what is it about the little spoiled brat, this little temper tantrum, having a fit, over whatever. This is the first thing that stuck in my mind when I saw it. So it's like I really had no interest in it. How I got into Richie Rich, full blast, was kind of by accident, really. How it started was, remember I told you about that issue of Hot Stuff that I had bought. On the back of the comic was this offer from Harvey Comics. It was like these little 45 RPM records, and there was they had a whole library of various songs, devoted to all their respective characters. It had, Hot Stuff, of course, and there was a Richie Rich and Casper song, and the records on there too with Wendy the Witch and Sad Sack, and I can't even remember all the characters, but you kind of get the general idea there. What I wound up doing was okay, cool, I'm going to go ahead and you know, get all my money together, break a piggy bank or whatever, and send away for the Hot Stuff record. But on the flip side of that, Hot Stuff 45 was a Richie Rich and Casper song. Song about Richie Rich and Casper. I guess they were a little team up or duet or whatever. So okay, if I have to get that along with the Hot Stuff song, that's just the way it has to be. But in addition to that, there was also a bonus when you bought the record. You also got some free comics along with the offer. If you bought the Hot Stuff record, you get a Hot Stuff comic, and of course with the Richie Rich and Casper song on the reverse side, you got a Richie Rich comic and a Casper comic along with it as well. And I figured, okay, Hot Stuff, I guess Casper, probably devour those. Richie Rich, I guess I'll take a look at it. And it took about 2 months before it finally arrived, and when I listened to the songs, kind of cute little song, Hot Stuff, the little devil, that's and this and that, and I finally got around to taking a peek at a Richie Rich comic, so here's why it's there, why not? I'll take a look at it. I was hooked from day one. There was just something about this character that really appealed to me. Now, not so much his money, which I was, which me and my family were seriously lacking in, but it wasn't so much the money as was the really cool adventures that this kid went on. So like I mentioned earlier, that I found this character to be very appealing. I mean, he had obviously a very strong moral ethic that I found to be rather appealing. Not to mention, I guess with all the wealth they had, he'd go on these really cool adventures, around the world sometimes. There were a few comedic stories there as well, but there was always always something he was up to, whether he was, fighting off, these bad dudes or whatever, or going off on the various adventure here and there. And there was also the, pretty good cast of supporting characters, for a kids comic. You had, little girlfriend Gloria, and you got Cadbury, his butler. I thought it was pretty cool for a domestic servant there. And of course, he got his little friends that he hung around with, Freckles and Pee Wee, and of course his father, was a big time, captain of industry and whatever. And it was, I really can't, explain it fully, but there was just something about this character that I found appealing. But what I found out later is that I wasn't the only one who felt the same way. As far as the Harvey Comics line goes, Richie Rich had pretty much become the cash cow of that line, no pun intended. And this is a known fact, really, or maybe a not so well known fact, but this character Richie Rich has had more titles devoted to him than Superman, Spider-Man, and Batman combined. It's true. I wasn't really all that interested in the superhero comics around the time when I was a kid, about 8, 9 years old or whatever. I don't know if it's just I had no interest in superheroes at the time because I was so young, or I kind of found later on that the comics around that era, the superhero comics anyway around that era, they pretty much sucked. I mean, there was really nothing exciting going on with them. The stories were kind of lame. The art was just kind of so-so, and just did not really appeal to me. I don't know if they would appeal to an older audience, like maybe either junior high or high school at the time. But at the time, I just really wasn't all that interested in them. Of course, that would change later on, but I saw fit. I just kind of stuck with the realm of Richie Rich, and several of the other Harvey characters as well. And my mom would occasionally, buy me the odd here and there Archie comic, just kind of trying to wean me off of Richie Rich a little bit. How my family felt about my enthusiasm for comics. Well, it wasn't always the most pleasant of circumstances, really. They kind of, well, I wouldn't say my family as a whole, but my mother in particular was a little concerned about my, I guess you would call it an obsession, really, with comics. Kind of figured didn't really go outside all that much, play with the other kids in the neighborhood, which I wouldn't say is really true, because I did go out, occasionally, but I wasn't really, up for that all the time. Because I was one of those kids that was always, that didn't really have any problem entertaining myself. No, not that way, but I just, I, if I, either pick up a comic or read a book, pull off the shelf or something, or I got from the library or something, or whatever, or even if I had to use my imagination, so I really had no problem, entertaining myself, if I felt I need to. That's not a sad thing. Like I said, it's not to say I didn't go outside and go play with the other kids, but, I'll get a little more kind of say. But anyway, getting back to the question, I think my family, is kind of, left me to my own devices. Of course, I had to hear my mother's occasional rants about, my involvement with comics, Richie Rich in particular. But there was really a whole lot I was planning on doing about it. I was gonna, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed doing it, and I wasn't really causing anyone any problems really. And I wasn't really a bad kid or anything like that. I was kind of quiet, somewhat introverted, but on the whole, I really wasn't a bad kid. I probably wasn't what you really would consider, normal, by other people's standards. But hey, as long as it was making me happy, that's all that matters.